Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike here, the DRF race of the day for Sunday, July the 16th, race number 9 at Saratoga. It's the grade 3 quick call. These are some fast 3-year-old sprinters going 5.5 furlongs on the melon. Let's take a look at this field. Please scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on your mobile devices. We're hoping Mother Nature cooperates. 10 entered for turf, the 11 Joey Freshwater, the 12 Acoustic Avenue. They are main track only, and as you can see by our colleague David Aragona's morning line, this is a wide open race.
It's a very, very tough race. I feel like you could make cases for just about everybody in the body of this race, Dan. I don't think there are too many results at the end of this race that would be that surprising. I think you just kind of gotta wait and see how they bet this thing. I really have no idea who's going to go favorite.
We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. You'd think that this pace might be fast. I'm a little bit surprised that we don't have the red bar up there. The 9 Uncast will be making his turf debut. He has shown high speed on the main track. Brighter Days Ahead was a pace-pressing winner of a first-level allowance at Ellis last time out. But you have horses like Charging who've shown speed, Two of a Kind that's shown speed. I won't be surprised if this gets hot.
Yeah, it will be one of the keys to the race too. I agree with you because Charging the 6 kind of feels like a horse who almost has to go in here. Whether he's fast enough to make the lead remains to be seen. The 4, Dr. Ozaron, to me he missed the break last time, but he's a horse who wants to be forward in his races. That being said, Dan, Uncast, he's never been on turf before. He's really fast.
Number 1 is Nay Hudson. This is a horse that wouldn't mind coming from off of a fast pace. Last time out at Churchill Downs, he fell a little bit farther behind than he had been in his prior races, came to the outside in the stretch, and it was a pretty solid stretch bid to win. Maybe they found the style for this horse here, and a very respectable 89 Beyer speed figure. He's one of 2 in here for Wesley Ward.
I think it really worked for him that they took him off the pace last time. And it almost looked like when you watched the race back, it looked like it was a conscious decision for them to do that. They rated this horse. He didn't get outrun in that race. He didn't have any real trouble at the start. They just took a hold of him, decided to rate and see what happens. And I would say that it worked out really, really well for them. I liked that performance from him. I thought he was much the best in that race off the layoff 2 starts back. He didn't run that well. He was pressing the pace that day, but maybe he just needed that one. He got very tired.
The number 2 is Kigali, who was listed as a first-time gelding last time out, cut all the way back from 2-turn races to sprints and did very well at Ellis Park. He showed good speed. He was able to make the lead, and he was able to get clear after about 3/8 of a mile and kept right on going. You have to think the pace is going to be stronger in here as he steps way up in class.
Yeah, it almost has to be. It's a real question whether he's fast enough to get towards the front in this race. I'm sure that's probably where Phil Bauer would like him to be in this race. The big problem with him, Dan, is he's a big price. So if you liked his 2 turf races, you're probably just supposed to bet him in here. The problem is you didn't really find out that much about him last time because he just got absolutely loose and never faced a challenge.
New York-bred Eyewitness is a head away from being a perfect 4 for 4 in his career. He's won his last 3 starts, including this turf sprint, going 7/8 of a mile over a yielding turf course at Belmont Park. And while he was up close to the pace in his prior 3 races, Eyewitness settled back in the early portion, made a nice strong move on the turn to take command and hold sway. This is a pretty good colt, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot to like about him, and he's another horse. He's really handy, so he'll be forward in here. But if this pace is fast, it probably won't bother him because he seems like he's very comfortable rating as he was in this race. 7 furlongs might have been pushing his limits there, Dan. He got a little tired at the end, but he got the job done. Also worth noting that a couple of the horses he's going to face again in here were in there, particularly Charging, who was on the lead. And, maybe it was the yielding ground, maybe it was the distance, but Charging did not run well last time. This horse really did.
You mentioned Dr. Ozaron last time out, not breaking very well, and you would think it would take him out of his game, and you'd be willing to draw a line through the race if he didn't run well, but he ran really well. Let's look at that roar going 5/8 of a mile at Gulfstream Park. He didn't break. He's on the far outside turning for home. It's tough to make up ground going 5/8 at Gulfstream, but this horse is rolling at the end to get third.
He did put in a nice run in this race. You're right. I mean, that's one of those starts for a horse like him who's been up towards the front in all of his prior races. That could have been a total disaster for him, but it really wasn't. He actually ran pretty well. Good performance there. I can't say that I love any of his other races that much, Dan, but he ran pretty well last time.
Nice to know he has that versatility. If he breaks, he can go to the front. If not, he can settle from off of the pace. The 5 is Two of a Kind. This horse was second last time out, behind Nay Hudson in the William Walker. He was part of a contested pace. He shrugged off all the pace rivals. He was able to hold second. He's another one that came from out of it. 2 starts back in the Palisades at Keeneland. Ran okay. The versatility works. He's just been beaten by a couple of these already.
I think we're going to maybe find out a little bit more about him here. Those 2 Kentucky races, they really are what made me struggle with this race, maybe more than anything else. Nay Hudson was in both of those races. Two of a Kind's in both of those races. Gaslight Dancer was in both of those races. I can't say that I really liked either one of them, Dan. Two of a Kind, I mean, listen, he ran fine 2 starts back. He was a huge price that day. And just made sort of a late run without ever looking like he was going to win. I guess he ran fine. Last time they put him on the lead. He fought really gamely, but it never looked like he was going to win that race. And I was shocked that he held on for second.
You rarely see turf sprints won by large margins. Charging won by 6 at Keeneland. 2 starts back, going 5.5 with a speedy Gambit. We saw him in the Paradise Creek. He was up and on the pace. He tired very, very badly behind Eyewitness, but I think you could simply make the excuse he didn't like the give in the ground. If it's firm at Saratoga, you might want to upgrade his chances. Still, he's another horse that likes to be forwardly placed, and if this pace is hot, it could work against him.
Yeah, that's how I looked at him too. I won't be surprised when he runs better in here, though, if he gets firm ground, because I think maybe that yielding turf was a legit excuse for him last time, Dan. I don't know. When he posted that big win 2 back on the turn back to this distance, it's just another one of those races. He got loose. It kind of felt like nobody really ran behind him. Maybe it's as good as it looks, but I want to see him do it again.
The 7 Brighter Days Ahead is seeking his 3rd straight victory. He scored in his turf debut last time out at Ellis Park. He got up close to the pace. He fired to the lead. He was able to hold off the closers. Joe Sharp had a 2-year-old winner at Saratoga on Friday. Luis Saez takes the mount. I think this horse can work out a nice trip just in behind the leaders.
I agree. I liked his turf debut. Obviously, his dirt form was good too, but he ran well last time. And that was a race where I don't think they had designs on the lead, Dan. Lannery looked like he took a pretty good hold of this horse out of the gate, but a horse moved up to his outside with an early run. So he just picked up and went with him, took that race over and held on at the end. I thought he ran really well last time.
The 9 Son of a Birch's only lifetime win came on dirt. He ran in that Paradise Creek over the yielding turf. He battled it out with Charging early. He wound up 6th, Charging round up 7th. So the duel, the ground probably worked against him. But this horse has a lot to prove on turf against this quality of runner.
Yeah, though that's all very fair, Dan. I would just say he's going to be maybe the longest shot on the board in this race. And I would just say, maybe it's going to be too tough for him anyway. He's probably a little bit better than he looks on paper. He has an excuse for that last one. I think he has the same excuse that Charge It does. He ran like a horse who really needed that race first time out when they went 6 furlongs with him as a 2-year-old. It's not a terrible performance, but he didn't look ready. And then in his only other start as a 2-year-old, that was a really fast pace that he wound up chasing going long, and he got tired. He might be a little dirtied up. That doesn't mean this isn't a tough spot, though.
The 9 is Uncast, making his turf debut, and that's the great unknown because this horse thus far has been brilliant on dirt. He has won 4 of 5 starts, and he likes to go right to the front, and he simply could be the speed of the speed if he takes to the grass. Does he have the turf pedigree to handle the surface switch?
Yeah, he really doesn't. That's one of the things to like about him, aside from his overall really, really good form on the dirt. He's not meeting really strong fields, Dan. So this does feel like a significant step up in class for him. But he's been visually impressive. He's been fast on the clock, and he's bred for the grass. His dam didn't race, but she's a sister to 2 stakes winners on the turf. His second dam is a sister to a multiple graded stakes winner on the turf. Trainer Larry Ravelli has incredible stats with turf sprinters overall. Irad takes the mount. There's a lot to like about this horse. I wonder what kind of price you're going to get on him.
A Gaslight Dancer is the number 10, and all of Gaslight Dancer's turf sprints are good, and he seems pace adaptable. He has that tactical speed to put the jockey wherever he wants to be, as he did in the Palisades at Keeneland, where they let the speed go, and he got a really nice closer's trip. Sort of the in-out, got to the outside and ran him down late. Worked out a good trip in the William Walker. He was just settled in the pocket in behind the leaders. Had to wait for just a brief second, but he wasn't going to beat the winner, I think, with even the clearest of runs. He still was able to get up for a minor award. What kind of trip can he work out from post 10? It's not easy from out there.
It's not a great post, but your points are all well taken, Dan. He's a very handy and adaptable horse. So I do think there's a chance he will fall into another trip here. And I think he's good. And I think he's one of the major players in this race. The only little thing that bothered me, first of all, he's the morning line favorite. We'll see if he goes favorite in this race. The other thing was that, again, I don't really love those two Kentucky races overall. He got a great trip when he won the Palisades. The horses that were second and third were huge long shots and just may not be that good. And then last time, I just didn't really feel like he had a huge excuse. I don't know. I think he's a contender. I just don't want to take a short price on him.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos, as the 11 and 12 are entered main track only and would be logical contenders if they get into the body of the race. Top pick time. I had a lot of trouble, with my top four. I could have gone either way. You're going with the horse trying turf for the first time, the number 9, Uncast. He might simply be too fast for this group.
I mean, I'm going to hope that he is, but I had the same trouble that you had, Dan. It was a really tough race. I didn't really know which way to go. I just took Uncast because I think he could be this good, and maybe he will clear off in here. In a lot of ways, though, I trust the number 3, Eyewitness, a little more. I just feel like he's a really reliable horse. I think he's going to run well in here.
All comes down to price, as Mike mentioned. Again, I had trouble separating my top 4. I like Gaslight Dancer's tactical speed. I like that maybe they found something new to do with the number 1. They took him back off the pace and made one run, and the 3 has just been rock solid his entire career. What a fun race. Let's hope Mother Nature cooperates. 9-3-1-10 for Mike, 10-1-3-5 for me. It's the quick call at Saratoga on Sunday. Your race of the day. Good luck.